Have you ever set a goal like finally using that fancy gym membership or skipping the late night snacks, only to find yourself back in your comfy old habits faster than you can say self-control? Same here. I consider myself very disciplined, but there are times that I fall into weakness. But guess what? It's not your willpower's fault. It's actually your brain. So here's the good news. Science says that you can rewire your brain for better habits, believe it or not, and that unstoppable self-discipline that you want. So here's how. Your brain loves habits. Your brain's basal ganglia, which is basically the area responsible for habit formation, it loves efficiency. So it creates these shortcuts or habits to save energy. The trick here is to replace bad habits with good ones. Research from Duke University shows that habits drive 40% of our daily actions. 40%. So instead of just breaking bad habits down and getting rid of them, let's maybe try swapping them out, because getting rid of them might be harder than it looks. Craving chips at 3 p.m.? Let's replace it with a healthy snack or maybe a brisk walk. This leads into dopamine, right? And I think those reward centers of having that snack really hits us in our feel-good hormone in dopamine. So it's your motivation's BFF, right? So have you ever heard of that satisfying ding on your phone and felt compelled to check it? I think we all do. We all get all kind of dings and special alarms on our phone, and we're like, what's going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. That is dopamine first and foremost at work. Studies show that dopamine doesn't just reward you, but it motivates you to take action. So if you want to harness it for self-discipline, it's almost like setting micro goals and rewarding yourself is that way to success. It's like training your brain to get excited. So I don't know if any of you have had like a new puppy or a new dog in the house, right? It's almost like when you're training this new puppy and they get a treat every single time that they go outside and don't make a mess in your house. It's the same thing here. We're basically training ourselves with a reward or something that we feel gives us that dopamine hit. So every small win, it releases dopamine. It makes you more likely to keep going, right? Checking off one day of your new habit, let's celebrate it with something small. Even if it's giving yourself that high five in the mirror, your brain will thank you for it. There's so many people talking about the word yet. But there's a lot of power in that. So let's talk mindset. Carol Dweck's groundbreaking research on growth mindset, it proves that embracing the word yet, as in, I'm not great at sticking to routines, but yet, it rewires your brain to see challenges as opportunities, not as obstacles. So reframing failures as steps in the learning process, it makes you 40% more likely to achieve your goals. So when we think about this, if we put our goals in front of us and we're not quite there yet, we haven't reached that goal yet, but we are going to make it. So if we can kind of train our brain to think that we're on this journey towards it, we're 40% more likely to achieve our goals. So how about that? And your prefrontal cortex sometimes needs a break. The prefrontal cortex is the CEO of your brain. It makes decisions and helps you with exerting self-control. But CEOs burn out too, right? Decision fatigue is so real, and simplifying your choices is necessary. So plan your meals maybe, or lay out your workout gear the night before, and automate as much as you possibly can. It really can help. By reserving your brain power for the important stuff, you'll keep your self-discipline muscles strong. So I personally do all of this all the time. I wear similar clothes every day, so I don't have to think about what do I want to wear. So Some of you might think that's so boring, but for me, I don't even think about what I'm wearing in the morning. I have everything laid out and ready, and it's very similar day to day. So I don't have to shop as much, I don't have to buy as many clothes, and I also don't have to stress out over what I'm going to put on my body in the day. And I prep my meals ahead of time, and I automate everything I possibly can. Everything from paying bills to using subscribe and save at Amazon. For things that I don't need to think about, I try to automate them. And with that, I'm making room for other things that come my way and getting rid of all of that overwhelm. So evaluate your situation. Look at all the things that maybe you're doing that is just busy work and automate it. So I've created systems for myself, and systems are the real key to discipline. These systems help with making consistent progress. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, he reminds us that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Translation here, it's about not going big. It's about showing up. So it's not about tackling that goal in one fell swoop. It's about showing up consistently each and every day. A Stanford study found that people who started with just 2-minute habits, like maybe a single push-up or a few push-ups, they were far more likely to stick to their routines longer term. Small actions, big impact, right? So how does discipline affect your brain? Discipline has profound effects on the brain specifically, shaping how we think, how we act, and how we respond to challenges. Here's how. Discipline, it strengthens the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the brain's decision-making center, as we discussed. It's responsible for self-control, for planning, and for focus. Discipline strengthens this area, helping you to resist those short-term temptations that hit us left, right, and center, right? We want to focus on those long-term goals, and it helps us to do that. So research shows that consistent practice of self-discipline, it can enhance the prefrontal cortex efficiency, making it easier to stay on track over time. Discipline also rewires neural pathways. It's the brain's operating system on operating on habits formed by these neural pathways. So essentially shortcuts for repetitive behaviors. When you practice discipline, you can rewire these pathways, often replacing unproductive habits with constructive ones. So this concept is supported by neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt in response to behavior and to experiences. And discipline boosts dopamine regulation. Self-discipline, it positively impacts the brain's reward system. When you achieve goals, even those small micro goals, dopamine, that feel-good chemical, is released. This motivates you to repeat the disciplined behavior. So over time, your brain learns to associate disciplined actions with positive feelings, reinforcing only good habits. Discipline reduces stress and anxiety, believe it or not. So discipline helps structure your life, reducing the mental chaos caused by procrastination or poor decision making. So a well-organized disciplined routine, it can lower stress by giving the brain clear priorities in manageable tasks. So we all need clear goals, clear structure, right? So does our brain. So the reduction in stress, it frees up our mental resources and it improves overall cognitive function and emotional regulation. So how about that? Discipline also improves emotional resilience. This is a big one. Practicing discipline, it builds that mental toughness by strengthening the brain's ability to delay gratification. This ability, known as self-regulation, it's crucial for managing emotional impulses and staying calm under pressure. So the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, which is really responsible for our emotions, they work together hand in hand to create balance and discipline, helping the prefrontal cortex take charge during those emotionally charged situations. So it's all your brain in action. Discipline creates a positive feedback loop in this regard. And the more you practice discipline, the more that your brain adapts to it. So success builds overconfidence, which feeds back to your ability to stay disciplined. Over time, this feedback loop, it makes disciplined behaviors feel natural and automatic. So I would agree with this wholeheartedly. I've created a routine in my discipline and just even the way that I structure my day. And sometimes I'm just doing my activities, doing my habits without even really thinking about them. But I'm crushing it and I'm successful. So my brain isn't having to work as hard and I don't have to struggle with all of those emotions that pop up. So fun fact here, I know I talked about this on a prior video, but this marshmallow test that psychologist Walter Mischel, he had this famous experiment in the 1960s. He tested children's ability to delay gratification with offering them 1 marshmallow now or 2 if they waited. So follow-up studies showed that children who exhibited more self-discipline and they waited to get 2 marshmallows instead of 1, that they had better results in their education, their health, and their career. So this underscores how discipline can shape not only the brain, but also your long-term success. So a quick brain rewiring plan for you all. Step 1, identify one habit to swap. Replace doom scrolling with reading maybe. Step number 2, set a micro goal. For example, maybe read 1 page in a book every night, or meditate for 10 minutes before you go to bed. Step number 3 is celebrate the small wins. Yay! Hello, dopamine. We need to celebrate. We need to enjoy life. Step number 4 is simplify your environment. So get rid of distractions. Shut your phone off once in a while. And step 5 is repeat. Rinse and repeat. Consistency is the name of the game. So here's the truth. Self-discipline isn't about being superhuman. It's about understanding how your brain works and using that knowledge to your advantage. You've got the tools. Now you've got the science. Now it's time for you to rewire, reset, and crush your goals, 1 habit at a time. So got a self-discipline win or a tip to share? I'd love to hear about it. Include it in the comments and tell me. I would love to celebrate your success. So if you found this content valuable, please consider sharing, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you all in the next video.